ultimately help people manage their careers using astrology. Astrology is a holistic process. It allows us to help people align with what they are passionate about, provide the tools to use their personal development to live your best life. The Way of Life Coaching Consulting Company. For reading or coaching, call Keisha Reed at 781-602-0986. That's 781-602-0986. Or check our website, www.thewayoflife.net. That's www.awayoflysme.net. The Way of Life is a coaching consultant that you live your best life.
Peace, 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 Geminis. Welcome to your November horoscope. I hope all is well with you. So we have all planets direct this month, giving you some extra mojo. It's a good time for launches, big decisions, agreements, investing, moves, planning, and new projects. Although I would most certainly be sure to listen to my Aries full moon live, as it is going to show where we could be experiencing economic downfall, and it's going to mark the energy that will be playing out for the next year, family. So just be mindful of that and know whatever you're planning, that you also want to know what's going on out in the world. Then we have Venus that will go shadow November 18th and will actually retrograde on December 19th. It's a good time to deal with any past issues, detoxing, decluttering, finishing old projects, research, relax, and just go with the flow. If you go to my website, on my blog site, you can find my Venus in retrograde blog, where I go through a bunch of different scenarios of do's and don'ts for retrogrades, for Venus retrogrades. But overall, old things coming from the past, especially between January and May, I feel like we can see anything that we might perhaps have been working on at that time, because that's when all these outer planets went retrograde and they're now all direct. So I feel like a lot of energy could be flooding in from that time. We also have a great deal of beautiful energy coming in between the 26th and 30th of November. I think it's something like 9 positive aspects that is undoubtedly going to bring us amazing, loving, and giving energy, right? And so I'm never the one to tell anybody not to do anything during a retrograde, because we all have lives and have things to do and can't always not do something. But just be mindful, family. This is just a notice that if you are experiencing any delays, miscommunication, technical issues, and all the lovely, beautiful things that come with retrogrades, just know it's because of the retrograde. Scorpio season is an emotional time for Gemini placement. So things around your health can come up that you may not want to hear. Geminis tend to burn themselves out. So you're going to be so busy as you close out your Gemini Sagittarius cycle. This might be a good time to sit with some emotional things that may be holding you back. So really reevaluating your emotions, your emotional state, your emotional being, why that is. Are you comfortable there? What would you like to change about it? And reflect and do the research and have those deep conversations with yourself. Or even perhaps getting some counseling would be a great avenue, or somebody who you trust that you can talk to about these things, to bounce some ideas off of. However, like I've been saying in some of the other videos, I don't think I mentioned this in all the videos, but definitely the last few, is that I've noticed that if you are spiritually aware, you don't tend to have these type of lower vibrational energies when we have with this. You can almost undoubtedly see your growth, and you're always growing. So there's always going to be pieces of you that you could do better. But I feel like people who are a lot more mature and been on this journey for a longer time, and like I said, just on your spiritual journey, tend to experience these things on the higher vibration always. Um, so just keeping that in mind, that, you know, these things that I say in these videos are subjective and they may not always be exactly how you're expressing them, but hopefully you can find your truth within my explanation. So So I definitely see that coming up for a lot of my Geminis. You might have a hard time with forgiveness. You're defining yourself. Who are you and what you want for yourself? Which I think has been beautiful. Family, if you haven't checked out my Venus and Scorpio video, go check it out. I feel like we can find a lot of graceful information to help us within this process as we heal and learn how to forgive. Even being vulnerable and asking for help. Let go of the pride, family, um, enough to see your way through these processes so that you can grow and evolve. All right. Um, you can also be experiencing some things between intuition versus logic, your inner world versus your outer world, your duty versus your role, and something around addictions. Um, Ideas versus experience, ideas versus manifestation, thoughts versus creation. For the next few years, to really bring things into fruition is going to be what Geminis are really, 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 really focusing on. I also found this very exciting because, as you know, I am a Gemini and I have been fickle back and forth with, do I want to be on social media? If I want to be on social media, how that's going to look. And so I've come to some conclusions about that. I think eventually I am going to get back on the screen where you can see my face, just because I like that perspective of what I do, but I'm also very comfortable behind the scenes. Energetically, what I've noticed is doing it this way have, good God Almighty, it has just been like, I'm in heaven, guys. Ah, it has really just lit up my whole soul to do it from this way. And now I've even gotten to the point where I can schedule my stuff. I'm even ahead of schedule with a lot of my stuff. Now, I'm not going to continue to do horoscopes for the rest of the year. I only do them during this time for eclipse season because I feel like things are so super intense. These horoscopes have helped me many years get my life together. So, but I've never had the opportunity. Like the last time I did this, I was struggling. Trying to get. Anyway. I'm going on a whole tangent. The bottom line is that I've gotten some comfortability around what I have learned throughout this process that has helped me learn how I would like to move forward. And I can tell you right now, I don't want to speak too much on what I've got going on, but I know that I've mentioned it in the past that I have gotten really far. I have accomplished a lot. And I feel like it's because I'm behind the scenes. Now, I might have made that up in my head. And just to make me feel better about this process, but from my heart, genuinely and honestly, I feel like that has a lot to do with it. So I hope that my sharing my personal stories, again, that you can find your story within my story and see that you have probably been fickle and fluctuating between these different ideologies and how you want to operate, and how that you're going to bring a lot of the inner into the outer. Okay. Okay. And so every 6 months, we have a new eclipse cycle. We're now closing out the Gemini Sagittarius cycle. So anything you learn from the cycle that has to do with how we gather information, how we share information, education systems, working from home, and mobility on the Gemini side. And then from the Sagittarius side, you have teaching and learning, starting a course, or again, getting a job. This also rules immigration and travel that will be highlighted at this time for you. Again, family, whatever it is that you've come to the conclusion on how you are going to move forward with what you learned through this cycle, be sure to be mindful that also on the world stage, they have also come to some conclusions. And it may not be favorable to the conclusions that you have. So just knowing how to work within between the two. Again, this is why I do this, to hopefully help everybody stay in alignment and ahead of schedule with what is going on. So I can't stress enough how those full and new moons will give you so much more information to help you within your processes and the decisions that you make, but don't let it put you into fear. That's not why I'm doing this. If you've come to a conclusion where there's a will, there's a way, despite what's going on out in the world, right? Do not let this shake you to your core where it changes the dynamics of what you do. You might have to switch some stuff around before you get to the actual goal, but do not let it take from you what you learned within this process. Okay. All right. And so there will be a new cycle, a new eclipse cycle beginning around finances, self-efficiency, environmental topics, sustainability, food, redistribution of wealth, and shared resources. The last time we had this eclipse cycle was back in 2012 to 2014. So these themes will most definitely repeat themselves in different ways. It's also an opportunity to see where you're growing at within this process. So how I've been looking at these eclipses is that it coincides with the nodes and your personal birth chart. So the South Node represents the skills and knowledge that you were born here with, the skills and knowledge that you gained from when the time you were born, all the way up until age 30, 35, right? And in this way, this is your generational lineage, your bloodline that you are experiencing through these eclipses. And so, what are you learning? What have you mastered? What are you taking from that and moving to the North Node, which are your mission, your purpose in this lifetime? And kind of tracking that through these eclipses, I think is probably one of the most beautiful experiences when you look at it from that perspective. What generational curses are you breaking? What are you learning new and trying to understand differently? What are you breaking free from? What do you want to pass down to your to the next generation? And how are you playing a role within that process? And so again, knowing what your nodes are and how the transiting nodes are playing a role within that process is really a beautiful thing to be able to track and understand. And so your North Node is happening between 35 to 42. You're trying on new things, you're transitioning, you're transforming and fluctuating again back and forth, just doing new things until you find on what fits. And then from 42 to 48, you are mastering that energy. And so family, if you want your own personal horoscope on this, please become a member on my Cosmic Connection group. You can go right to my website, down to the bottom of the page, and click Become a Member. That will take you right to the Cosmic Connection group where you can get access to these horoscopes as well as previous eclipse horoscopes. I have over 200 horoscopes within that Cosmic Connection group where you, again, you just have access to information where you can track to see what was I doing in previous eclipse season? Am I aligning? Did I miss something? Is there something else I could do differently? I think of that, something that you didn't even think of, that perhaps maybe was a tinkle, a thought of something that you could change in a specific kind of way. You really get the opportunity in this Cosmic Connection group to have access to information to track that process. Another thing to note is that all horoscopes, if you are an avid horoscope reader, you might have noticed at different times that sometimes they are right on point. Sometimes there are things that are already happened, and sometimes there are things that don't happen until later down the line. The reason for that is because every sign has 3 decans, and your 3 decans equal out to 30 degrees because each house equals 30 degrees. So um, you have your early degree decans. These are the people who are born from the beginning of the sign from another sign, right, until the beginning of the month. And then you have your middle degree decans. These are the people who are born from the 1st to the 10th of the month. And then you have your late degree placements, and these are the people who are born from the 10th and onward. And so I break all these down in these horoscopes for you. But for the people who are interested in going to do their research, family, The early degree Geminis will have this in the 12th house. This is the house of Pisces. So you can do any Google research Pisces themes and characteristics. That's going to show you how this is going to be playing out for you. And for my middle and late degree placements, you're going to have this in the 11th house. So you can do any research on Aquarius themes and characteristics. And that's going to tell you how this can be playing out for you. Again, family, if you want this written for you as well as your weekly horoscope every week, every Saturday, join the Cosmic Connection group. We look forward to having you. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.